Content warning for discussions of sexual assault.
You must never listen to this.
It's a found on shelf Christmas, so buckle the up.
Hey, I said, less bits, more piss.
It couldn't hurt our ratings at this point.
Which brings us to this synergy.
Yeah.
A VHS rip was the only thing you could find?
Well, it's on Tubi. I just thought the VHS rip would be funnier.
It is not on Tubi. I looked.
What? I thought
It's not on Tubi. The first two are on Tubi. The third one isn't.
Oh, interesting.
There's a Blu-ray release that came out in 22 from Vestron.
Oh, Plex has it on demand. That's where I saw it.
Oh,
Plex has it on
Plex.
demand.
Sure.
Yeah. Not my Plex, but also the Plex. So, ho, everyone, and welcome to the Found on Shelf Christmas Spectacular.
Spectacular.
Yeah, well, maybe not spectacular. I do have lights up, so that's something.
Do you? I don't.
Yeah, and if you are a listener listening to this, it's a couple weeks before Christmas, so this is like an early Christmas present for your ears. And all wrapped up in bows is the second best thing you're going to find under your tree this year. My co-host, Patrick.
Give me a minute. The bows are strategically placed, but if you want, you could unwrap me.
You can use your imagination into where those bows are. So how are you?
Apparently, not as horny as you are.
I was talking about Christmas bows. Not, what are you thinking? So anyway, how are you doing this Christmas time?
Well, seeing as it's theoretical Christmas in the recording timeline, I'm doing great.
Yes.
But don't fact check me.
Yeah, don't.
See,
you were going to fact check me.
Well, here's
you know what? You can fact check this podcast.
You can. You shouldn't, because God knows what you'll find. But
yeah, don't go down that rabbit hole.
I'd be feeling a lot hollier and jollier if you had picked any other movie. This is it. Okay, I have seen worse Christmas movies, but I don't think I've ever seen a more boring slasher.
Oh my God! Right?
This is the most boring, most slow-paced slasher. It's as if Ben Stein were a movie.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Ben Stein were Michael Myers. Yeah. But it was really slow. I was like, this is
your boyfriend now, Nancy.
And so have you seen any of the other so let's get this out. Let's get the cat out of the bag here. So,
yes, of course.
Ladies and gentlemen of our listening audience,
we're actually watching the third It's a Wonderful Life movie.
Yes, and I was surprised at the amount of debauchery that happened. No, we are watching Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 3. Better watch out. Is the movie that I chose for tonight because I wanted a Part 3 Christmas movie, and most of them are there's just not a lot of options for a Part 3 Christmas movie. So I went with this one. So that's how I came to it.
In a just world, there would have been like 5 Santa Sleighs movies with Goldberg, but
yeah. But then those might get too popular and be too good, and then that would also not be a very good fit because we like to go with the offbeat. So you deal with the cards you're dealt. And have you seen the other? I think there's 6 of these damn movies now. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Have you seen any of them?
Yeah, so I saw the first Silent Night, Deadly Night, which I would describe as one of the bleakest, most mean-spirited movies I have seen. And it doesn't even intend to be as bleak as it is, but by its very nature, it's just unrelentingly just mean. I don't like it.
Yeah. It's it definitely had its fair share of controversy.
Yeah, one could say. I think Linnea quickly gets impaled through the tits.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. She gets like hung up on antlers.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, yeah, something about deer. I remember that. It's been a long time since I saw the first one, so I had to look up stuff about it. But yeah.
So there's a scene in the first one where a woman is being sexually assaulted at a Christmas party,
Okay.
and evil Santa busts in just in the nick of time to kill her assaulter.
Yeah.
And then he kills her too because she was getting raped and therefore, being naughty.
Yeah.
And this is the thesis by which I condemn this movie.
Yeah, and that seems to be kind of a running narrative in the first two movies is the naughty going after the naughty.
Yeah, so briefly, Silent Night, Deadly Night. We talked about this movie before because anytime you talk about a killer Santa movie, you have to bring up Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Is it the original like Santa? Is it the first Santa slasher movie?
I think it's
I
the
know there's
first
been
one.
other Christmas horror, but I don't think there's any with.
Yeah, this is the first one I think that where Santa was the killer, right? Because like before this, you have Silent Night, Bloody Night, which I think is a supernatural film, but it's definitely not about a killer Santa, right? That's several years before this, and then in between those two movies, you have Bob Clark's Black Christmas, which is it's a serial killer. A lot of movie. A lot of people call it a proto slasher, and it is in the sense that it is before slasher movies, but it's really more like a Canadian giallo movie.
All right,
which a lot of the kills are through first person POV, but you don't really know who is or isn't the killer.
Gotcha. That's down.
It's an interesting movie. A lot of people like it. I don't, but a lot of people like Black Christmas, and it's got strengths to it, right? Silent Night, Deadly Night, though, was pure schlock and meant to purposely offend as its like marketing campaign, right? Let's be as subversive as possible. Let's go as far as we think we can with the concept of a killer Santa, and it worked because like it was panned everywhere, and that kind of lent to its like mystique, right?
Yeah, much like we talked about with the Hotel Inferno guy, kind of did the same thing and enraged people, and
yeah. Although that's like online troll baiting, and it works the same way. But I believe this is one of the video nasties. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, so there's this movie, and then the second one is mostly reused footage from this first movie, with a couple of like really.
I've got a lot of stuff to say about the second one, actually. Have you seen the second one?
I've just seen the 5 minutes from the second one, right? The garbage day. Everyone's seen
Garbage day.
Yeah, everyone's seen that. And this movie also has its fair share of reused footage. Now, this one is the last in the mainline storyline. So the first movie, you have Ricky, and he, when his parents are coming back from his grandparents' nursing home on Christmas Eve, they're attacked by an evil maniac dressed as Santa, and he kills both of his parents.
Attempts to rape his mom and then kills
yeah,
him. There's a lot of rape going on in these
There's
movies.
a lot of rape going on in the first Silent Night, Deadly Night. I don't know about the second one.
Yeah, too.
So you're not selling me on that one.
No.
So there's a lot of that kind of shit.
Guess what happens in part 4?
We're gonna get to part 4.
Yeah.
And I know about part 4.
Okay.
The one with Mickey Rooney, right? But for the all listening audience,
no, I think that was part 5.
Is that part 5? I thought part 5 was the witches.
No, part 4 is the witches. Part 5 is the toys.
I haven't seen part 4. The only one I know about was part 5. Actually, I think me and Casey had the same discussion during the Krampus last year.
It's possible. I don't know why you guys would stop talking about Krampus and talk about something else, but
yeah, okay. So Ricky, so this happens to Ricky as a child, and then him and his little brother get sent to live in an orphanage run by abusive nuns who physically and psychologically abuse him.
Yeah, but flip side, it was Billy was the older kid, Ricky was the younger one.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, it's Billy. That's right.
And Billy was the main killer in the first one.
Right. So, and then in the first one, eventually Billy flips out and dresses as Santa and goes on a killing spree, dies in front of Ricky. And the second one's about Ricky, who apparently also goes on a killing spree, and then through gunfire, I guess, gets put in a coma for the third movie. And this third movie, 1989, so 5 years after the last one of these.
Yeah, 6 years in the movie timeline, but yes.
Yeah.
Well, straight to video.
Straight to video, yeah. I know, written in a week.
Okay, so all right. Well, first, we can't skip past part 2 quite yet. So
okay, I don't know anything that happened in part 2. You tell the people about part 2.
So part 2 was an 88-minute long movie that used 30 minutes of footage from part one. So as original, it's only 58 minutes long. So the first movie had a budget of $750,000 and made $2.5 million in the box office. Second one, much lower, $250,000. And want to guess how much money it made in the box office?
$250,000.
$154,000, 320.
Yeah,
Very oddly specific.
you do have to deliver on a movie like this, right? Like, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be good, but
Yeah.
like, it's got to be worth talking about.
Yeah. So the filmmakers said that they were paid a dismal amount of money to make the film, and they were told to just re-edit the first film and pass it off as a sequel or a re-release. And the director said, no, we need some new stuff. But he didn't have a huge budget, so they kind of worked with that. But at least we got the Garbage Day clip.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm,
And in the movie, part of the reason it didn't do so well in the box office is because it was banned in the UK because the distributors refused to make any edits and cuts. And 33 years later, in 2020, it was finally released in the UK. So that was it. But yeah, pretty much it's a lot of murder and mayhem and rape going on. And then he does successfully kill the nun that his brother tried to kill in the first one. And then the cops shoot him a couple times and he falls out a window. You assume he's dead, but then he his eyes open up and he smiles. So you're like, oh, maybe he's not dead. But I don't. So, okay. Before we get into part 3, do you have a pitch for it? I have a trailer.
Well, I thought we would just give them like a rundown on what the overall setup is, and the setup is he's in a coma, and this movie follows a psychic woman who wakes him up from his coma, and then he goes on a killing spree. That's the movie. My premise. Why would I ever sell anyone on watching this movie?
I don't know.
Okay. Hold on. Do you suffer from insomnia? I have a suggestion. If you find yourself unable to sleep, put on Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 3. Might help.
Yeah, that's good.
It can't hurt, right? Like, nothing's going to happen in this movie. It's so god damn.
The movie starts with somebody in a coma and then puts you into a coma.
Exactly. I mean, like...
Well, here's the trailer. The trailer's a little bit more exciting, at least. If I got the right trailer. Hang on. Well, you know how I am.
Enter a world of dreams.
Laura, tell me what you saw in your dream.
I told you, Dr. Newberry. Santa Claus.
A world of silence.
Subject may be making contact.
I don't want to see the future or the past. I just want to be normal.
A world of madness.
No one is normal.
A world that can't be ignored.
She likes it, loves it. She can't resist it. She wants to penetrate his mind, see what he sees.
That was in the trailer?
Something happened. Something terrible.
Because when the dream is over,
I don't know what's going on here, but whatever it is...
the nightmare begins. The Yuletide terror returns.
His brain was surgically reconstructed.
You don't mind my saying, I'd have pulled his plug.
Even his life was of value.
With the saga that shocked a nation. Robert Culp, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 3. Better watch out. Supported by full trade and consumer advertising. POP includes a full-size poster.
I included that last part for you. That was the trailer that they give to the movie theater or the rental companies like Blockbuster and the mom and pop shops.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was in the goddamn trailer?
Yeah, it was in the trailer. Do you think that this movie was trying to like come off like it was the new Nightmare on Elm Street kind of movie?
Well, I mean, they definitely used Nightmare on Elm Street as like a structural premise, right? Because like
right.
all of the psychic visions only happen when she's sleeping. This movie is like if TBS tried to push a new true crime series about a narcoleptic detective.
Wow. Okay.
Am I wrong? She spends half the movie sleeping.
This was her first, and I think she only did like 3 different acting roles.
Yeah, and only one. I'm pretty sure there's only one other movie, and it's a vampire movie.
There was 2. There was a movie called Best of the Best that was also in '89, and Bloodsuckers in '97, and that was all. Take with that what you will.
Bloodsucker's just like 6 years later, 8 years later.
So back to this movie here, Patrick. Where let's get it. Let's get this festivity going.
I want to paint you a picture. Are you ready?
Go for it.
White room,
Yeah.
white walls, white floors, white office space ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else.
Yes.
Now in this room, there is a woman asleep. And we're going to hold on her being asleep in this white room for the entire opening credits.
Yeah.
And then she's going to wake up and wander around and open the door and walk into a white hall with nothing going on.
No, nothing at all.
So, how much was the budget on this fucking movie, Dustin?
Too much. Whatever it was too much. And her lovely attire, which was, I think she had 2 crucifixes around her neck, and then crucifix earrings as well.
Yeah, well, you know,
In her
she was really into Madonna at the time.
I'm sure that's what it was. It was so goddamn slow. I mean, it just took forever, and it never went anywhere really. It just kind of kept going and kept going, and I'm like,
yeah, you could tell you figure out it's a dream relatively quickly because
right.
it doesn't make any sense for it to be anything but a dream. She wanders into a room and like, did the dude have his brain thing on now?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so let's say Ricky, Billy's little brother, the killer from the last movie,
Mm-hmm.
played by a different person, Bill Moseley in this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a affect, or as his killer affect, his disfigurement as a slasher monster. They've reconstructed his brain, and it is now exposed.
Yeah.
There's a plastic dome over his exposed brain, like a retro 50s movie or like a joke from Futurama.
He didn't suffer any brain damage at the end of part 2. He was shot like 3 times. And they also made it sound like, oh, it was in a hail of bullets. No, it was like literally 3 times. I think it was like 2 pistols and a shotgun, and that was it. So
it's a lot of bullets.
It is, yeah.
Boromir was failed by many.
Yeah. But it at some reason his brain had to be exposed. I don't really know. I don't know why.
Somebody thought it looked cool, but like that person is as wrong as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like this would look lame for a Power Rangers episode.
Yeah. It was.
Ooh, I'm mean tonight. Okay, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, you are. We got cranky. You're not in the Christmas spirit here.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little grinchy.
I mean, I have shoved an awful lot of terrible part 3 movies at you, so I guess it's hard to choose and hard to find some sometimes. So
it is true. It's hard to find a third movie, especially like a Christmas themed movie, right? Because like the selection of movies that are Christmas movies that are third movies. Oof.
Yeah, not a lot. But
at least we have that movie where the Grinch goes into space to look forward to.
What?
Isn't the third Grinch movie in space?
I don't know. Well, that would be usually that's the 4th movie. Isn't that when Leprechaun went to space, part 4?
And Leprechaun went to space in part 4. Am I confusing the Grinch with the Leprechaun?
You might be.
They're both great.
I think we should have done part 4s, man. Leprechaun in space was awesome.
Hey, season 4's coming.
I just watched Child's Play, The Bride of Chucky, which is part 4. That's great. Jennifer Tilly's awesome, as always.
It is probably the best Child's Play, but my second favorite is Child Play 2.
You just like the stairs.
Yeah, the stairs. How's it hanging, Phil?
And you had mentioned that we had Bill Moseley as the Ricky, which should be he should be well known. People know who he is, right? Chop Top, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Otis from House of 1,000 Corpses, Devil Reject. Like, if you've watched, more than 5 horror movies that have been out since 1980, you've seen him.
If you've seen something that Rob Zombie did, you've seen him.
Did you know he was in Inside Out 2?
He's in Inside Out 2?
Yeah. No, not the Pixar film Inside Out 2.
Oh,
It's one that
okay.
came out many years ago. It was a Playboy anthology film of softcore sex. Slightly different than the Disney Pixar film. So anyway, yeah, he is Ricky.
I don't have anything for that. I'm sorry.
that's what I like doing. I like throwing you off your track there. So yeah, she has a dream. She sees Ricky laying there with his.
Although in this movie, he kind of
head
looks like a
exposed.
discount Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, that was a choice that they
He likes
made.
some French fried taters. Hi, Patrick here with a serious ad spot for once. A Scarecrow Video is a rental store in Seattle, Washington that houses one of the largest video collections in the world, with more than 147,000 titles you can access right now. They are dedicated to preserving movies, with titles that are rare and out of print, and some things that even the Library of Congress doesn't have. It's an amazing organization that needs your help. If you are in a giving mood this season, please head over to scarecrowvideo.org and donate what you can to the Save Our Scarecrow Fund. Any little bit helps to preserve this publicly accessible video collection for the future. Thank you.
He wakes up, pulls a blade out, slashes her arm, and she's like in a room covered with blood, and she ends up, it's a dream. She wakes up, Santa's lap, whatever. She sits on Santa's lap. He wakes up, something like that, and that was it. So it was a dream. And then so she's not being completely honest with the doctor. She's kind of a bitch.
Yeah. Although I
For
feel like
no reason, but I mean, well, maybe because she's blind.
Okay. So a couple things. The character is blind and psychic. So Stephen King is like having a field day. Because he likes to do that thing where it's like, I'm going to make this character handicapped in some way, but the cosmos will give them a supernatural power to make up for it.
Yeah, Daredevil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He does this exact play in The Langoliers.
So she's blind, and she's also an extremely gifted psychic.
Now, the character, I didn't think she was that much of a bitch in the first 20 minutes. Like, yeah, she's like combative and kind of like a brat, kind of bratty. But like, she's just completely just like really unpleasant in like the second half of the movie.
Yeah, she really switches.
She's participating in a sleep study that this doctor is running to explore psychic abilities, and explicitly he's trying to see if he can get psychic people to connect with people in comas, because he's reconstructed the psycho killer Santa's brain and he's in the next room, telling her that's what he wants her to do, just letting her idly dream and see what happens. And she's like being coy about it for no real reason.
Yeah, I don't know why she's not being like, yeah. She's like, I had a dream about Santa.
She's like being evasive. But the doctor feels like the research is going somewhere, and so it ends right now because it's about to be Christmas, and and her brother's gonna pick her up, and they're gonna go see their grandma. But the doctor feels very positive that when she returns, they'll be able to have more involved sessions. Do you want to play that clip? Do you want to play what the doctor fucking said about this? Please play this insightful, well-balanced thing that a medical doctor said.
I think that she's playing little girl games. Her body may be young, but her soul is old. Older than we can imagine.
Search that man's hard drive.
You think she'll come back?
She's gone too far. She'll be back. And then she'll let me go as deep as I want.
She likes it. Loves it. Knowledge. She can't resist it. She wants to penetrate his mind.
It just gets worse and worse.
I can't believe that was in the trailer.
Yeah. Yep.
She'll let me go as deep as I want.
Yeah. Nothing implied there.
If you ever hear an older man say that this woman has an old soul, stay the fuck away from him.
Yeah.
But second of all, holy fucking shit. Dude, what?
Yeah.
Now, do you think that maybe there was a rigorous editing process that this script had to go through? Like surely they didn't write a script and also the final draft of the same script within a 1 week period.
Why would they ever do that?
Weird. Good thing that didn't happen.
Yeah. No, not at one bit. But yeah, this is the part where she before we go on, I do have to mention the doctor here, Richard Bamer. Do you recognize him?
I feel like maybe.
Okay, so
there's a small town somewhere in which he might have possibly killed an important figure. Maybe her name was Laura Palmer.
Okay, so you're familiar with Benjamin Horne from Twin Peaks. Yes, he was the richest man in Twin Peaks, but
That's right. No, he was the richest man. He wasn't the dad, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got him confused.
But although there was a plot where they made it look like he might have murdered her as well, so it's
yeah, well, their faces are similar enough. I haven't watched Twin Peaks in like years.
He also played Tony in the 1961 film West Side Story. He was like the original movie Tony, if you're a West Side Story fan.
You know, honestly, the Spielberg remake was not bad.
I didn't watch it. So
it might be one of Spielberg's best movies.
Wow.
Yeah, it shocked me.
And he was also in 6 different episodes of Murder, She Wrote as 6 different characters.
Was he the murderer in all of them or just half of them?
He was, I don't know, he was a doctor and probably a murderer and probably a suspect. And yeah, he was probably.
I don't know. As a doctor in this movie, he's pretty suspect.
Yeah, he's already a sus.
Ew.
What's her blind girl? Laura. That's right. Laura. So
it's a little Coffin Joe joke for all the people that did not watch Coffin Joe
or listen to that episode.
And if we judge the podcast success by the amount of people that didn't listen, holy shit.
There's new listeners today, so there's new listeners every day.
Well, I think what we could do is we could get Moo Dang on, and maybe then we could do Talk Tua numbers.
Is that what you want? You want Talk Tua numbers? Why don't we just title this episode Talk Tua? Maybe some people get confused in the search.
I think our management company would try to find us.
Yeah. Well, at least somebody is. So anyway, actually, we're going to come up on the Haktua line here in a minute. So yeah, she's kind of cranky. She goes up to the receptionist and she's like, the receptionist is a bitch to her. Also, I don't know. Everyone's just cranky in this. Like, she's like, can you keep an eye out for a Jeep? And then like the receptionist is like, yeah, if I get a chance. Like, like total bitch. This blind lady just wants you to look out. Anyway, she sits down on this bench. And the next thing you know, she kind of folds up her cane, walks up to the desk, and the receptionist is covered in blood, and Laura screams. And then her brother wakes her up.
It's a psychic vision. Okay, I have a question. I have a very important question. Is she blind in the visions?
I don't think so.
Don't think so, but then
she
also...
was in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see the calculus on the filmmaker's part, right? Because in Nightmare on Elm Street movies, premise is that you don't know when it's a dream and when it's not, right? Because the first movie is specifically supposed to be in a dream. It's a nightmare on Elm Street, right? And so all of those movies have that mechanism where like you think that they're awake, but oh no, they've been asleep this whole time, or they fell asleep at some point and now they're in danger, right? So this movie tries to do the same thing, but to suspend your disbelief, the problem is with a blind character, she has to continue to be blind for you to have this reaction. However, in other visions, she clearly can see what is going on around her because she's in a dream state.
Yeah, little discrepancies.
Yeah, the movie can't really reconcile it.
Yeah, they're just like, sure. What happens.
I do like this though, because like she sees the murdered corpse and she realizes this is a premonition. And on her way out, the receptionist sarcastically says "Merry Christmas," and she says, "Not for you."
Not for you.
And that was good. That was good. If the character would have been like more goth or like angry or something, like they lean into like. Yeah, they lean into that and also made her more actively psychic. I think that'd have been a cool character.
Psychic abilities were very weird and didn't quite make sense.
Passive.
Yeah. And did you catch an eye on who her brother is?
Who's her brother? I couldn't figure it out.
His name is Eric, sometimes Dare, sometimes DeRay, some Day-Ray, making his second appearance on the podcast because he was in Critters 4.
Oh.
He was Bernie from Critters 4, but he's probably best known, another alumni of Twin Peaks, as Leo Johnson. I think he was the drug dealer.
Oh, yeah, he was.
We got a couple of Twin Peak ties here, which is kind of cool. When she says "Merry Christmas," not for you. And so now we get a really kind of awkward scene with a really creepy Santa and not creepy in like the spooky kind of way.
You're not gonna make a joke about the hand job joke she makes on the way
Oh,
out.
that'll come in a minute. But no, this was when the creeper Santa, and again I say creeper in a lock your not lock your doors, just grab your kids and put them on the other side of you kind of creeper. He's like drunk and stumbling around, and he's like, "Hey, you want my candy cane, little girl?"
Yeah,
Just gross.
bold of you to put that audio out there, though.
Damn it. So this was a last minute reshoot that they did. This is one of the final things that they filmed actually, because they felt that the murder was too mean because Santa wasn't mean enough. So they wanted to make him more hateable. So that was actually the director playing Santa trying to be hateable.
When you say reshoots, are both of the scenes with Santa reshoots, or just this scene where he sexually harasses a woman in the hallway?
Yeah, the hallway scene, and then when he comes in there, because if you notice, Ricky and that Santa are never like in the same shot.
So, like, was there a Santa involved at all then in the original cut?
Yes, it was a Santa, but he wasn't like a hateable jerk Santa.
He didn't say vegetables don't drink to the coma patient.
No, Ricky woke up and killed him, and they were like, "Oh, he didn't really Santa did nothing wrong, so let's get Santa, make him an asshole." So they couldn't get a hold of the other guy, so the director was like, "Screw it, I'll do it." And
I don't know. I feel like they should have just killed an innocent Santa, because like at least that would have made the killer scary, which he is not.
Yeah, he's really not that scary. Just like, oh, okay.
I have never seen a slasher phoned in more than this one, and I've seen every Nightmare on Elm Street. I've seen every Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I've watched the Hellraisers that Clive doesn't like. Like,
is that like all of them, or
honestly, yes. But like,
well, okay. So now Ricky gets up, goes out to the receptionist desk, and he kills the receptionist just like in the chick's vision. It's like watery ketchup splattered on the desk. It's terrible, terrible blood effects. And then we get the line that you were talking about. That of course I had to, because we meet the brother's girlfriend, Jerry, played by Laura Herring, who was Miss USA in 1985.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. And she was also in Mulholland Drive. We're doing a lot of
Lynch in this movie.
A lot of Lynch connections. Yeah. None of the Lynch talent, but connection. So she goes and meets, and she's like, "Oh, your brother tells me that you're a psychic." And then she says,
"Chris tells me you're psychic?
Chris tells me you give great head.
Jesus, Laura.
Oops. I'm good with my hands, too."
What a great response to that. I'm good with my hands, too.
The other joke I was talking about is to her brother, she's like, "Hey, how does a pea brain get his belt off?"
Oh, yeah, that weird joke.
And then it cuts to her belt, and she's like is making a jack off motion on the little what do you call that?
Oh, I mean it's not the clasp, it's the, I don't know, it's the phallic part of the belt.
Yeah, the belt dick. She's jacking off the belt dick.
Yes. Oh God, and I hope there's some like belt nerd out there going, "Hey, it's called the floobity flob, dumb bastards."
Post the question in men's fashion on Reddit. They'll come for our blood.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's called the prong.
The belt prong. That doesn't sound less dick, right? It sounds equally phallic to dick.
Yeah. So I don't understand. There's some really bad jokes in this movie.
Yeah.
Or attempted jokes.
Yeah, but it's almost like they wrote 2 scripts in a week and called it a day. Like, that couldn't have happened though, right?
Just one. Yeah. So let's see. Oh, and then we discovered that the psychic connection kind of went both ways, because now Ricky kind of knows where she's going because she said the address.
Coincidentally, this movie comes out after Halloween's part 4 and 5.
And it was if
you remember, those are the ones where Michael has a psychic link with Jackie.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
I just watched all the Halloween movies 2 years ago.
Yeah, Halloween 4 and 5 are not great films, but they're not watchable.
Yeah.
And like there's a thing that happens in Halloween that's really amazing, and that's I'm sorry, it's Jamie. Jamie is this is but the thing that I love about those movies is Donald Pleasance, because Donald Pleasance is an alcoholic. Like in real life, he was like a severe alcoholic, and he's drunk in a lot of his scenes. Like if you watch the first Halloween, the scene in the car when he when Michael escapes with the nurse.
Mm-hmm.
He was almost blackout drunk in that scene. They didn't know if they were going to get through it. John Carpenter had to wrangle him to get this performance out, right?
Wow.
Now,
all right.
with that knowledge, I want you to go back and watch at least that scene, and you tell me that it's not obvious now that you know that. And so, but like, Dr. Loomis is a lunatic. He's a raving fucking lunatic. They're not like Joker and Batman. It's like Joker and other Joker. And but one of the Jokers is drunk. So because like Dr. Loomis diagnoses a child with evil. That's a clinical psychological diagnosis. You have evil. And he's so melodramatic. As it goes on, he becomes more and more like an unhinged Muppet.
Yeah.
And he just brandishes his gun at the slightest provocation. He points it at police officers. He's just going down the street waving his gun, screaming, I shot him 6 times in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. I love Loomis, but by the time he gets to 4 and 5, he's completely unhinged. At one point in 5, Loomis, a psychologist running a halfway house for psychologically damaged children, for children who have severe mental issues, and he's there to help facilitate their care and treatment. He grabs a 9-year-old by the shoulders and shakes her, screaming, where is he? Where is he? The movies are great. So like people come out like those like they hate the Thorn trilogy and the Halloween movies. Fuck off. Those movies are fantastic. But this movie, if this movie was half as entertaining as one scene with Dr. Loomis, I would be having a better night.
It's just not. Yeah, there's kind of a reason that nobody really talks about this movie.
What is there to say?
Not much. So there's that psychic connection going on, and Ricky hitchhikes. And who wouldn't pick up a hitchhiker that's dressed in like hospital scrubs and his brain's exposed in a jar?
Warning: hitchhikers may be escaping mental patients.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, and I've got a surprise cameo for you here. The truck driver. This is a deep cut. The truck driver is a guy named Carlos Palomino, who's making his second appearance on the podcast. He was in It's Alive 3 as one of the Cubans on the beach. Deep cut.
Is he the one that gave the guy the gun? It's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yes. Like, dude, we can't stand you here. Get
the fuck out. They put him on a raft and rowed him themselves back to the mainland and kicked him out on the beach of Florida. Like, get the fuck out of Cuba.
Holy shit, are you boring?
And whiny. Oh my God, he would have fit right into this movie.
Oh yeah, probably would have. So,
okay, so the movie is structured like this. Laura and her brother Chris and his girlfriend
Jerry.
Thank you. They are on their way to Grandma's house. Okay. Ricky, who is psychic, is hitchhiking his way to Grandma's house, armed only with a letter opener. Mm-hmm. I need to make this point clear right here and now. Ricky takes a letter opener off of the hospital receptionist's desk and slits her throat with it, and then absconds with said letter opener. The only weapon he has for the rest of the movie is this letter opener. He kills an additional 4 people with a letter opener. He chases the final girl around the house wielding his frightening murder implement, a goddamn letter opener. If this movie had any inclination towards being funny, that would be hilarious. But they're trying to sell it, and it just is so bad.
We'll get back to that.
Oh no.
Yeah, so apparently he decapitates the guy at the gas station.
With a letter opener.
We don't see it happen, so we don't know.
We don't
but
know.
That's all he
Okay,
has.
so we don't know. We don't actually see him kill anyone for a long time. And when we do, he's just moving his hands in motion with a thing you assume is a knife.
The only thing he's picked up is a letter opener.
Yeah, and they reinforce this because during the final chase, that's what he's wielding.
Yeah.
And they're like, holy shit, it's been a letter opener this entire time. And like, what?
It was the letters we opened along the way.
All right, so enveloping the rest of this plot, the doctor is in pursuit of him because he, like all mad scientists, values his experiment above all human life. The police have been contacted because there's a dead body, and you have your like eighth-rate Columbo figure here. He's not Columbo, but he is trying to be like, that idiosyncratic detective, right?
Yeah.
I almost like him. I like the idea of him. I think with a better actor or a better script that it would have worked really well. But anyway.
Yeah.
For some reason.
He was probably the most likable guy in the movie.
Oh, yeah. And for some reason, they go on a road trip together. Him and the mad scientist are going to go track down Ricky, who they think is on their way to Laura's grandmother's.
Yeah, but when they get in the car, the detective guy has to give him a sales pitch on his cell phone.
Yeah, in the car right over there. In the car right over there, the detective starts talking about his cellular phone, and then he's like, "If I sign you up, I get $100 off my bill." God, the good old days of cell phones.
Yeah, well, yeah, $100 off your bill, and the bill is still 1989. Yeah, your bill is still probably $500.
Are you tired of roasting your chestnuts by an open fire? Or maybe you don't have a fireplace to roast your chestnuts this year. This week's sponsor has the solution for you with the Nut Roaster 9000, a compact flamethrower that's guaranteed to deliver that tasty nutty goodness directly into your mouth without the hassle of stoking a fire. Just aim the nozzle at your nuts, put on your protective eyewear, and blast them to your desired level of doneness. It won't take long. The Nut Roaster 9000 is over 1,000 BTUs hotter than the Nut Roaster 8000. This holiday, keep your nuts toasted, no matter how cold the winter gets. Hey guys, was this really the most appropriate episode for this ad read?
I thought it was a car phone at first.
It probably was a car phone because you need to have the hands-free features if you're driving a stick shift.
Yeah.
Or so it says. Again, it's a weird, out-of-place dialogue. Like,
yeah, it was meant to
be. Maybe the script, maybe they didn't spend too long on the script.
Yeah, like maybe a month or so. They could have written the final draft in a week, right?
Yeah, it just, it wasn't as ironed out as it could have been.
Been unthinkable.
Yeah.
Pixar used to spend 3 years on a script. They don't anymore, but they used to.
They used that way, or like the dolphin from South Park and AI.
Yeah, well, the Lemon of Troy script for The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
They rewrote it about 20 different times.
God.
Yeah, but I'm sure that like they had it the same amount of rigor with this, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
so
we'll get our lemon tree back or choke out their rivers with our dead.
So the Ricky shows up at at Grandma's house.
Yeah,
and then Grandma screams. They were kind of given this story about Ricky. How they rewired his brain. They wanted to do a psychic connection, all that stuff that we kind of figured out anyway. But yeah, so we just hear Grandma scream, but we never see what happens to her. And then Laura shows up at the house with her brother and her brother's girlfriend, and they're like, well, Granny's not here, but she said she was going to be here. She told me to pick up butter, so I don't know where she's at. So why not go take a bath with your girlfriend at this time? Grandma's missing, but let's go take a bath.
Yeah, and by the way, they both did not fit in that tub. Nothing sexy is happening.
Nothing. It was very weird. In fact, what's funny is Laura and Jerry both they were both trying out for both the roles, but they said that Laura refused to be topless, so she got the role of Jerry instead. And that's where we got. So, and it was one of those weird, just out of place scenes. Like they're just like, oh, we have to have nudity, so let's do this
Yeah, there
extremely
definitely could have been a
unsexual
better way
bath.
of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, should have just had her taking a shower or something. It just didn't need to be.
They could have been in a bedroom. I mean, just like,
Yeah.
this is the worst scene.
Or they could have, maybe gone and looked for their grandmother who's missing.
I
I'm
don't worry
sorry,
about that.
but if I'm going over to my 80-year-old grandma's house and she said she's going to be there and she's not there, I'm going to do some searching before I get naked and hop in the bathtub. Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally.
Different strokes for different folks.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Where is this supposed to be taking place?
I don't know. California.
Yeah, because like
Northern
it's
California.
Christmas and it's like
beautiful.
it's summer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Southern California was Christmas for you. And then so there we go back to the cop and the cop and the doctor in their car doing the weird mobile car phone ad, and we cut back to Laura, who's getting dressed in front of her brother.
Yeah, I was going to point this out too because what?
Yeah, I was like,
she okay because and like totally like she's in her bra and then she's getting dressed like in front of her brother. She had to like get changed in front of him.
I guess so.
This was a decision that both of these characters made. And like, what?
Did he announce himself or he just like sneaks a peek whenever he can? Like, what's going on here?
Well, no, she was talking to him.
Yeah, but how long was he there for? Yeah, I guess maybe he wasn't there for when the bra was off. Either way, bad scene.
It's bad. Stepbrother, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah. So now, after all this, they've taken naked. Brother's already taken a naked bath with his girlfriend, and he got to sit and watch his sister get dressed. So he's on top of life right now. Now he's like, well, you know what? Let's go find grandma.
By going door to door in the neighborhood and see if anybody's seen her.
Yeah,
like a dog.
But then the car is gone and all the phones are dead. Dun, 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 and and then the cops. Then we cut to the cop and doctor at the gas station, and now they found like the dead body there, and he's like,
yeah. Okay, so like I think we grazed over this. Ricky hitchhiked his way over here, which means he killed the guy that picked him up because he can drive apparently. Really strong Michael Myers vibes from the comatose and then breaking out and being fully functional and driving.
He can't really talk, but he can drive.
And so then he stops to fill up with gas and kills the gas station attendant.
Mm-hmm.
The gas station attendant girlfriend was attempting to have phone sex with him.
Oh.
And so he leaves and the receiver is off the hook and you just hear her, it's like still continues to try to have some sex. Like, Greg, are you there? I know you're there. My panties just wet just thinking about you.
Meanwhile, he's getting murdered.
Ricky cuts off his head and puts his head next to the receiver, so I guess he can continue to hear the phone sex conversation.
Yeah, it's very thoughtful of him.
Yeah, wingman,
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. So then, when the cops show up and they see that he's dead, the doctor was like, red activates his childhood trauma.
Yeah, not Christmas.
Not Christmas,
red?
Not Santa, but red. Yeah, he's a bull apparently. So okay, yeah. And so we're back at the house, and there's just so much of nothing going on in between these scenes, and it just drags on and on. But anyway, we get back to the house. Girlfriend is like standing right in front of the door. Gee, what do you think is going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
He bursts his hand through the door and starts choking her.
Okay. And he bursts his hand through the door. He starts choking her. She screams. Laura screams. Chris runs out the room, comes back with a knife, stabs the guy's arms. Ricky retracts his arms through the door, and Chris goes to comfort his girlfriend. That's the play-by-play. But everyone's energy in this scene is turned down way past zero.
Oh, God. I didn't even realize he stabbed his arm at first.
Like laconically bursting his arm through the door and grabbing Jerry by the throat. Jerry goes, ah! Like a delayed scream and the worst scream, and then kind of just stands there and waiting to get choked. Laura screams. Ricky sees all this and runs out the room, which is a wild reaction. And when you realize he's going to get the knife, he comes back and and stabs a bit. Like it's all done so weirdly paced and weirdly acted.
Yeah, and they don't really do any sound with the knife in the arm. It's just like
or dramatic music, really.
Yeah, it's just there. I'm like, oh, Did he really just stab? There's actually twice this movie where I'm like, did they actually stab him? Because I can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the first time where I was like, I had to go back and watch. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess he did. That was weird. Whatever.
Then he goes and gets a shotgun, and they're going to try and escape. Now, he says, I found Granddad's old shotgun. This thing must be 100 years old. Hope it still works. Now, if the gun has been sitting for several years without having been fired at all, there should be some at least cursory maintenance and checking before trying to fire it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe Grandpa was out shooting every weekend with it.
Yeah, it could be. All I'm saying is it would have been really funny if Chris dies not because Ricky kills him, but because he goes to shoot Ricky and the gun backfires. Have you ever seen that in a slasher movie before?
Oh, I want to say I have. Yes.
No, really?
Gun backfires into somebody? Maybe not. I don't know.
I can't remember having seen it, and I think it would be a cool thing to see in a movie, because like it's not, it wouldn't be what you were expecting, but it could have been in one, and I just don't remember it.
But that would be fun. But that's not what happened here. Nothing fun happens here. No,
because Chris just gets stabbed.
Yeah, he gets stabbed, and you're like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, Ricky drops out of a tree, stabs him. Jerry and Laura run back to the house. Laura says, "I'm sorry for being so mean to you."
Yeah.
To Jerry.
Sorry to talk about your oral sex skills.
This is really great. There's a couple things that we probably overlooked that we shouldn't have. Firstly, Chris and Laura do not have parents. They're both in their early 20s, but they are orphaned.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know this because earlier, immediately after the sleep study, Chris took Laura to her psychiatric appointment.
Yeah.
And her therapist, which I described to you as the most ableist shrink, is criticizing Laura for not accepting help from people and saying that she should be more open to help. That she doesn't have to be the model for the world's perfect blind orphan. That's dialogue. Another thing he says is like, you gotta let people help you. Let the little old lady help you cross the street, even though you don't need it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry. What? You don't know? This is where my ableism comment comes in. Like, what? No.
Yeah.
She can do it. You don't do that. No. Right. Yeah, you're the type of fucker that like touches someone's wheelchair. What are you doing? But Jerry, she wasn't perfect either. Like Laura was mean to her, but Jerry also, in the car ride over to Grandma's, turned around to Laura and said, "So, how long have you been blind?"
Yeah.
Her exact words were,
"Yeah. So,
have you always been handicapped?"
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, that was.
And Laura's like, "Actually, I'm handicapable." No, she does say, I don't think I was always being handicapped, but which is some 90s dialogue. But the thing that I thought would have been funny earlier or late, a little bit later, she's like, they were saying something, and Jerry's like, yeah, it's about as good as your odds of being struck by lightning. And it would have been so funny if Laura was like, actually, I went blind because I was struck by lightning, you insensitive bitch.
That would have been good.
And I'm sure if they had spent a little longer on the script, I know that they spent enough time, like clearly enough time, but maybe just a little longer.
Yeah. Maybe not rewrite it like 20 times, but
yeah. Maybe more than once, though. Right.
That would be nice. So the doctor shows up and he decides that he can play a tape of Laura and that will calm him down.
Which makes no sense, especially since Laura's screaming on the tape.
Yeah, and especially since he's supposed to be in a coma and like.
Let's talk about the doctor. The doctor thinks he's funny, or the screenwriter thinks the doctor thinks he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor uses lots of eloquent words, overly thoughtful in his speech, but he's like a derisive mad scientist. So like on the way there, he's talking with the cop, trying to argue with him to not kill the guy. And he's like, I don't know, Doc. I think you put more sympathy with your experiments than innocent people.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, there are no innocent people. We're all guilty.
That was a little cringy.
And then he's like, the science is trying to restore our innocence. What?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
He's everything he says is like Barbossa's. I'm disinclined to acquiesce your request. Why use one word when 8 will do?
Now, do you think going back to the similarities with Halloween? Do you think they were trying to make him a slightly saner version of Loomis?
I mean, maybe, but like Loomis is written to be a dark mirror to Michael. Like they are meant to like spiral after each other, right? That I'm making fun of it, but that is a design.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I think it's missing that Donald Pleasant's drunk off his ass magic.
Right.
You just can't stick the landing seriously because the lines are terrible. So if you can have fun with the lines, like Loomis is the kind of person who hides outside the bushes of a serial killer's home, waits for a 12-year-old to come up to the door and goes with a scary voice from the bushes, "Hey, you bitch," or whatever. Get out of here! I'm going to eat you. Like what? I don't remember the line, but like that's what he does. Again, he has pointed a gun at a cop at no less than 2 separate occasions.
Yeah. So it's almost like somebody wrote down like a slightly Dr. Loomis character and didn't really have time to flesh out that character very well. Just kind of wrote like a quick note on like a side paragraph, and maybe they just spent so much time working on this they kind of ran out of time.
Yeah, they'd circle back to it during the second week of writing.
Yes.
It's funny when you can look at Suicide Squad and go, they spent more time on that.
Yeah, you can look at just about anything. Okay. The Asylum films, they write those longer than it takes.
16 the first draft of 16 Candles was written in a weekend, but I don't know how many subsequent drafts it had.
So back to our Door Smasher movie. This dude is just barreling through doors like they're nothing.
The construction on your house is shoddy.
She gets Laura gets a psychic vision of her grandma telling her to use her powers. So turns the lights off.
Yeah, we can dissect this a couple different ways. Hold on a minute. I have to Google what the name of this fucking movie was. I've stopped this episode dead in its tracks. Give me a minute. 70s horror movie about a blind woman. Yeah, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, 1973.
Okay.
Is an American made-for-television movie. And the premise is a housewife... No, I'm wrong. Never mind. There is a movie about these people attacking a blind woman in her home, but she turns off the lights. It's subverted into to someone in the premise for Don't Breathe, right? If I'm blind, let's both fight in the dark,
Right.
But the thing about this movie is she knocks the light bulb out in the basement, but the light in the stairwell is on. So completely illuminating the basement.
Well, maybe she doesn't know that.
Oh, this fucking movie. Anyway, I bet it's okay though, because turns out Chris didn't die, and he comes and he blows a hole in Ricky with his double barrel shotgun. But then Ricky gets back up.
Well, before he blows a hole in him, did you catch that wonderful line Chris says when he pulls out the gun?
I don't remember.
Is it live or is it Memorex?
Yeah, what?
He says, "Is it live?" The old Memorex commercials. Remember they used to do those with like Ella Fitzgerald, and like she was singing and breaking the glass, and they're like, "Is it live or is it Memorex?" Because Memorex tapes record so well you can't tell if it's live or if it's recorded. And what that has to do with this scene, I have no fucking clue.
I'm glad you explained that to me, because that one is a little bit before my time. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, it was like those. It was a series of commercials, probably early '80s, maybe.
It'd be like busting it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Bam.
Yeah,
just a tagline.
Yeah, that was like their like whole commercial thing was this girl, Ella Fitzgerald singing and it breaks glass when she sings, and that's how good our tapes are at recording audio. You can't tell if it's live or if it's Memorex.
Yeah. What?
So that has to do with him waking up and shooting him with a shotgun.
Hey, Riggy, plug it in. Pizza.
Clap on, clap off, a clapper.
Get it clean with OxyClean. I like Chris more now.
Yeah.
And he's dead. Ricky just gets back up and strangles him with a shotgun.
Yeah. I think he's dead this time for sure. Chokes him out, and then Ricky goes to Laura and like she stabs him or something. And earlier,
Sharpened piece of chair.
Yeah, and earlier you saw the doctor get stabbed after he tried to hand him the tape. I don't know if we said that or not. After he tried to hand him the tape, he ends up stabbing him, but it looks like he punches him. It's, again, letter opener. And his dying words at this point are, "Don't be stupid," which was like a callback to the joke they said in the car. Like, what was it? Like, what do you call it? Deja vu twice? Don't be stupid or something? I don't know.
What do you call it when someone gets deja vu twice? Stupid. What? I feel like another pass on the script might maybe.
I think there's been enough time on it.
Maybe I'm just expecting too much of this rigorously written script.
Yeah. Well, then the cops show up, they wheel all the dead bodies out, and it just ends with some weird shot of Ricky in a tuxedo just saying, "And a Happy New Year."
Well, yeah, Laura says Merry Christmas, and it fades in inexplicably. A translucent ghost image of Ricky in a tuxedo appears on screen to say, "And a Happy New Year," and the credits roll. So yeah, just a question, Dustin. Maybe you can help me with this. So how long did it take them to write the script for this movie?
Well, you know what? I'd like to get into a few things before we get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
There were two actors I did not talk about. Well, we did talk a little bit about the detective and how much you liked him. He actually went on to be in parts 4 and 5, playing completely different roles.
Right.
And the hotel receptionist that got her throat slashed with the letter opener.
She was in Murder, She Wrote?
She is a trifecta, my friend. She was in Murder, She Wrote, Matlock, and Hunter.
God
She's
damn.
like found on shelf royalty at this point. So there was that. And like you said, this movie was directed by a Monty Hellman. He was directing a movie called Shatter, was one of the Hammer films, but was fired because he was running late and ran into too many disagreements with his producer. So he ended up going on and filming the movie Cockfighter instead. And then he kind of got recruited to doing this movie. And what he says, he says it's one of his best, not necessarily his best film, but his best direct. I don't know why, but it always seems like people do this when they make a movie that's not good and just misses the bar on so many things. He said, "Nobody understands this movie. It's a satire."
It's not. It's not. First of all, let's set the record straight on a couple things. The word satire implies making fun of a cultural thing, right? Like satire is making fun of a thing that exists in the world. Parody is making fun of a style of story, right? So a satire is Catch-22. A parody is Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Right.
Young Frankenstein is a parody, but Kurt Vonnegut is a satirist. So this, if anything, would be a parody.
Yes.
And a third thing is like a farce. So that would be like Clue is a farce, right? It's which is just a straight up screwball comedy, or something that has the trappings of that, like maybe Murder by Death. But this would be you would be parodying tropes. It does not do that. It does utilize tropes. The movie is basically, like we have stated, just Halloween but Christmas, which is really funny because Halloween was the jettison, the germ of the idea that becomes Halloween, at least from John Carpenter's perspective, because John Carpenter loved Black Christmas. He wanted a movie that was what if Black Christmas but at Halloween.
Yeah.
So like that's the germ of that idea, right? That's not the reason that movie exists. The part of the movie is like the producer was like, well, what if we made a movie called Halloween? There isn't one yet, and they approached John, and he had this other idea of like, well, what if it was like related to Black Christmas, right? Because that's the thing that he'd already wanted to see. And so those two things meld and become Halloween, which I would say is the better film than Black Christmas, although it is a different movie. Black Christmas being more in the murder mystery style of Giallo, whereas Halloween is a survive the night film, right? And is usually like the first like in the slasher canon, right? Everything else before that we usually consider to be proto slasher, right? Because you've got Texas Chainsaw and everything, and it's like the slasher movies technically exist, but Halloween becomes the prisming focus, right? It's like going to it takes all of these ideas and themes that are in the Zeitgeist and hones it into one perfect movie, and then that is the one that everyone's trying to copy and emulate. So it becomes like what we see as an origin point, but it's really just like another bend in the genre. This movie is trying to be Halloween, but it is interesting that it gets those similarities, right? It's like Halloween is riffing on Black Christmas. This movie is riffing on Halloween. It would be cool if this was a third movie in the chain that was good, because while I do not personally like Black Christmas, it is a good movie. This movie is the opposite of good. It's what's the word? What's the word for that? Bad. It's bad. It's bad. What does he say? It's a satire of.
He just says it's a satire.
Yeah, they all fucking
that
do that.
Quote. He's like, it's a satire, and that was it.
Yeah, well, it's like when people when it doesn't work, they're like, well, it was supposed to be funny,
right?
Brother, being funny is as hard as being scary. Listen to our show and tell us if we actually are funny. Being funny is hard.
Yeah,
and like actual comedians performing, like comedy is difficult. That's why horror comedies are truly difficult, because then you have to be good at two things instead of just the one.
Yeah. So he said. So a friend of his was hired to produce this movie.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the script was already done, already waiting. Hey, I'm producing it. I got a script for you. Monty, you're my boy. Come and direct this. So Monty comes and directs it. And and that was pretty much it. Wait, there was a part where he hated the script and threw it away.
Did he? This is interesting, because like the Wikipedia page I read, they just highlight the timeline, right? So they say that the script was written and they had a final draft of it within the same week.
Yeah. So well, that was the second. So the original script, completely trashed, gone. And they discarded it and they rewrote it and finalized it in a week.
Okay.
Starting in March of '89, and then principal photography finished at the end of April. Editing was done in May, and the movie was screened in July.
Yeah, it shows.
Yeah. So the rejected script.
Yeah. Did you read it? Do you know what it's about? What's it like?
It's Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4 with the witches.
Oh, okay.
That was the original script. They
So
just, they retooled it a little bit.
I don't know what the witches one is. Can you tell me a little bit about that one?
I know a little bit about it. It's about witches, and there's a scene where somebody it's called Initiation. There's a scene where somebody shoves a larva into a woman's vagina and she throws up cockroaches, and it's directed by Brian Yunza with special effects by Screaming Mad George, who directed Guyver. So
I have such complicated feelings now.
Yeah,
because I hated everything about what you said, but I do like Brian Yuzna
and Clint Howard.
And then the fifth one is Mickey Rooney and the Geppetto robot.
Yeah. Wasn't that Josh Kirby Part 3?
Well, I don't know.
What's happening?
I don't know. Wait, do you know what the fifth one is?
I do know a little bit about the fifth one. I didn't do too dive, but I saw it was booby trap toys or something.
It's called The Toy Maker, and Mickey Rooney is like an evil Geppetto, and he makes his weird robot son, and the robot son I think is the one who makes the killer toys. Also, he attempts to have sex with a woman, and he's got nothing going on down there.
Oh, okay.
Kin crotch.
So, why does all of these movies seem to involve rape? Jesus.
This is a question I keep asking about the Christmas movies that get picked on this show.
Not just Christmas movies, it's everything. I think that because they know that's like the
So here I have an answer for you. Yeah,
lazy writing.
Yeah, it is lazy writing. Okay, filmmakers want to be sensationalists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Horror filmmakers want to shock. This is one of the worst things you can do, so it's one of the worst things you can show. And also, everyone involved in these movies is overwhelmingly male.
Yeah.
And isn't really thinking about Like I'm sure a lot of them understand that it is a horrible thing they're talking about, but exactly the implications of it, right? In any kind of emotional states, it's just a thing for them. And a lot of times it gets confused with the way they attempt it. Is they'll sexualize sexual violence, and what I mean by that is like, yeah, it is assault, but the camera is not telling you that. It's bad. And it's a problem, and it's in a lot of the movies that get made in the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s. I mean, still to today, right? Like, it's still a thing that happens. You see less of it because they don't give maniacs as much money as they used to. And for better or worse, that has affected the film industry. You know, if we're talking about feminist intersectionality, I'm sure it intersects a lot with when they talk about rape culture. But in terms of this movie, it's bad, and I hate it, and it's in a lot of them. But you know what I will say about Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 3?
Oh, what will you say about it?
There wasn't any assault in this one.
Yeah, in Part 3, I don't think there was any. That's kind of surprising.
Refreshing, almost.
Yeah, I mean,
the movie's terrible.
The Doctor was a bit of a creep with the old soul line and the.
You're right. Yeah,
it
you
wasn't
don't want to take
direct assault.
Yeah,
and he was really
weird.
creepy when he was trying to put her back to sleep. Like,
yeah,
dreaming, rubbing the side of her head, like petting her like a cat. Like,
yeah, that felt like a legitimate medical procedure to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it seemed legit,
dude.
But you're right. There was out of the whole series, this was probably the only one that didn't have any. Although it did have flashbacks to the rape in Part 1. So,
oh, you're right. You know, never mind. Because like, how much of this movie was also just reused footage from Part 1 again?
Yeah, not as much as Part 2 was, but
a good 5 minutes, maybe 10.
Yeah, easily. So Patrick, that brings us to the question from the great Morgan Freeman.
In a way, I brought you here to offer you a job. You think you can do it better, so here's your chance. So
this little game we like to play on here. You must change 3 things about this movie, and only 3 things about this to make it a better movie, a more approachable movie, to make it a more profitable movie. What do you do?
All right, stick with me here.
Okay, going on a walk.
The killer who wakes up out of a coma from many years and suddenly knows how to drive and goes on a journey to kill again.
Mm-hmm.
What if, when he stopped by the gas station to kill that dude, he got a pair of overalls and a Halloween mask? Okay, that's my first change. No, my second change is the psychologist that pursues him. What if he was played by a drunken actor? Okay.
Okay.
That's my second change. My third change. What if our protagonist, instead of a psychic, was a babysitter? I think I've got a better movie. What do you think?
It might be a better movie, but I don't know if it should be set around Christmas time.
Well, what if we could always put it around Halloween?
That would make sense with the mask.
Yeah.
There we go. Got it.
No. My fourth change.
Okay.
Is,
whoa.
I'm gonna break the rules. I'm gonna do a fourth change on this one.
What are you doing?
So the fourth change is,
oh my God,
we spend more than a week on the script. Suicide Squad took 6 whole weeks and it was a disaster. Can we spend more than 1?
Well, and I think a lot of that it probably had to do with the fact that he got fired from the first movie he worked on, and maybe he didn't want that happening again.
He's like, we're going quick,
yeah,
fast.
We gotta get this thing done.
I heard they wrote Austin Powers in a night. We can do this.
Yes, let's do it. Knock it out. Go. So yeah, I don't know what his reasonings were, but I don't know. I kind of want to see Part 4. Just it's hard to recommend it, I think, because of everything that happens. But
I'm not recommending it. I'm gonna. I will probably maybe watch it. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe not. Brian Usna does shit like that in all of his fucking movies. By the way, love Brian Usna, but like, what the fuck, dude? For real. But so maybe I'll watch it, maybe I won't, but I'm definitely not recommending it before I see it.
Yeah, it's not going to be a blind recommendation. Just from their description, I was like, ooh.
Now, Coffin Joe.
Yeah, Coffin Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a ground to stand on here. I picked fucking Coffin Joe. Jesus,
I know. I don't
Christ.
feel so bad about Nostril Picker now.
I was speechless for a long while after that movie. I was like, son of a bitch.
Well, you know what?
Anyway.
You can go back to being speechless now, because I believe that brings us to the end of our fine Christmas episode. But we're gonna have more Christmas episodes. We're gonna have.
Are they gonna be more Christmassy than this movie was? Because good God, Die Hard is less Christmassy than this. Or more Christmas in
There
this.
there was a Santa in this one.
Was a Santa. There was a Santa, singular Santa, and a Christmas tree.
And they were going to Granny's house for Christmas. So Christmas.
It was clearly shot in the spring.
Well, California Christmas is different.
California Christmas is different, but I bet it doesn't look like California spring.
Inland California. I'm sure it's lovely this time of year.
I got nothing else for this.
Yeah, I got nothing else. Well, that wraps it up for us here on Found on Shelf, where you can find us talking about movies that you may or may not have seen. So I hope you enjoyed what you listened to, and give us a like, give us a share, give us a review. Buy like 20 phones and listen to it on each of them so it registers. I don't know if that works. Does it? I don't know. I might try it. Get some burners. Yeah. Other than that, go to foundonshelfpod.com. Look us up at Found on Shelf Pod on wherever you want. We might be there. And that's about all I got for you. Patrick, what you got?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Dun, dun, dun. I wonder how many people, well, there's not that many people that listen to this, but of the people that do listen to this, I wonder how many people know that I clip the beginning of the credits music to end the podcast with.
I don't think they would have to watch the movie to get that.
Yeah.